How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting. Welcome back to ReWrite. So, last time was traumatic, but we lost. We had to flee with the key, and we're trying to get out of the city. It's the last day of the Harvest Festival. It's chaotic, but we've learned that they are actively hunting us now. And so, we gotta go. We know we can't use the trains. We know we can't get like a taxi. We're gonna have to just go on foot and hope for the best, which is not looking great. I was really convinced that we were going to come back and find Kotori missing or captured. So I'm just glad she's here. It's been very depressing. Cause it just feels it's been hard watching Kotori face so much and not being able to do much. So we also had kind of like a final interaction with oh my gosh, I know his name. I know his name. What is it? Yoshino. Kishton. I'm sorry. I don't know why it took so long. Yoshino. We finally faced him at our full strength and showed him just how outclassed he was. And it turns out he's always had strong feelings for Kotori. And so he's like accepted that she never looked his way, really. But he's only accepting that because he's finally acknowledged that Kotarou is good enough, at least, to keep her safe in his eyes. Doesn't understand what's after us, obviously, but, you know, it's something. So, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if we're winding up towards, like, the actual finale. Like, I don't really know what to expect for the finale, but, like, I think we're like, I get a feeling this is a bittersweet ending, where Kotori kind of gets to have a life now. But, I don't know. Could be wrong about that. I hope I'm wrong about that. I'd love to have an actual happy ending, where she can still be a druid. But, anyway, let's get started. Kotori and the others are safe. I joined them, and acting as a tourist family, we moved to a less congested area. Oh, right. Her puppeted familiar parents are also here. It's weird saying it that way. In the end, our only option is walking. And so, we walk and walk, away from both the city and any train tracks. Wow, look at that field. A golden sea of autumn crops extends into the horizon. A truly magnificent sight that reminds me of foreign movies. This place is amazing. But there's nothing left for us here. We're trying to escape somewhere, away from human eyes. Even in the luckiest of circumstances, what awaits us is the life of seclusion. Let's go. We walk. Across the golden fields. How far have we gone? I checked my phone to confirm the time, but it's only displaying a black screen. It had no way it's kept a charge this whole week. It's out of battery. How about yours? Kotori shakes her head. Seems we've lost our last remnants of modern civilization. Not like the signal would reach a place like this anyway. Honestly, it's probably for the best. With the resources that these people seem to have, and maybe even the relation to the government, there's a good chance they could track it. Do you know what time it is?
時計ない。
I see. I feel like we've been walking for a while, but I'm a little bothered by the fact that the scenery and the sun and the sky don't seem to be changing. This doesn't feel right. At least the key is calm and obedient. We continue walking. No one speaks. Neither Kotori, no I, nor the key. There's nothing to talk about. This is just how it is when you don't feel like joking around. It makes me think of ages long past. Entire families walked across continents just like this in ancient times. It's almost like we're wandering through a fever dream. The sunlight is neither hot nor cold. The endless golden crops glitter, filling the world with a mysterious glow. I feel like we're heading straight to a world of gods or something. The sensation at my fingertips seems dulled, making it feel like everything that's happened up to this point is barely consequential. My stomach rumbles. The hunger snaps my consciousness back to reality. That's right, we still haven't eaten. Let's take a break. I think it's around noon. Kotori points ahead of us. There's a hut there. It looks like a storeroom for farming tools. It's built from wood, but it's barely holding together at this point. We've all, I don't, like, I was about to say, we've all seen those structures before, but I don't know. I definitely have. But I did kind of grow up in like a city. It was a city. It was a small city, but it was a heavy agricultural area. So farming was just a part of life for a lot of people. And if you went out at all and like did anything out in the outside the city, it was just in fields. The thin walls looked like they'd give out instantly under a strong gust of wind. That said, it's more than enough for a temporary camp. It's still a bit warm.
食欲ない。
You should have something at least. I hand her a hot dog and a boxed salad. Then filled a vacuum flask lid and cup with coffee and syrup. Got a lot of syrup. Should keep all our energy levels up while we walk. I stick the cup in Kotori's hand as she slides down to the floor. Kotori, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. A dry exhaustion, similar to how you feel after a long night of crying, seems to be encompassing her. Come on. I try my words, Kotori takes a little sip. Hopefully she'll cheer up once she gets some sugar in her system. I take a bite out of a chili dog. I'm glad my appetite has remained intact at least. It's good. I like them spicy. Once I finish gobbling them both down, I turn to the salad. After devouring it like a ravenous caterpillar and drinking 2 cups of coffee, I finally feel alive again. Kotori hasn't taken a single bite of her, and her coffee has cooled down. Ever since we left the forest, or maybe even slightly before that, Kotori's been lacking any semblance of her former spirit. She looks like a mother drained after giving birth. I'd say more just like a shell. Or maybe like an old woman just before death. Meanwhile, the key is staring at a single point in the wall, motionless like a mannequin. It can probably remain like that for hours. Kotori's parents are sitting without making any unnecessary movements at all, as well. Like she said, they aren't alive. Though it's still hard for me to process that fact. I understand it on a logical level, but not emotionally. Hey, those two...
人扱いしないでいいよ。魔物だから。
Kotori seems to have long accepted that fact, but I'm uncertain. So, when did they pass away?
子供の頃、
Was it before you became a druid or after?
直前。
Did they die together?
交通事故だったから。
Encouraged after multiple questions, Kotori finally starts talking unprompted.
雨が降ってた。山道で。私はうつらうつらしてた。
Oh gosh, so she was there.
後部座席で寝そべって。でも、車の中から見える景色が好きだったから、お父さんが運転してて、お母さんは助手席。車は、スリップしたんだと思う。猛スピードでカーブに突っ込んだ。
Probably hydroplaned. It's one of those dangers that, like, even if you've heard that term before, a lot of people actually don't know what it means. But it's the same concept of a rock skipping across a lake when you throw it. Normally, rocks sink to the bottom, right? But water has a very polarized connection to each other. Like it tends to want to bind together, and so when applied with enough force across a large area, the water kind of resists it. It pushes back, and when met with enough force, and especially like I said, it's a large area and something, and proportionally weighted, it will push back so hard it'll actually knock it out of the water again, which is why the rock skips. Now the concept is the same for a car, but in this case the car is it doesn't weigh enough to be literally skipped. However, with the car going fast enough, the weight of the car kind of inadvertently flips on itself, and the water resists it. It's not for very long, but it's long enough that the car doesn't touch the ground anymore, and you go from like driving on like a normal surface with normal grip to essentially a frictionless environment where it's more you have less grip than you would have on ice. So you go from having all control to no control immediately, and then often you go right back to having control. And the worst thing that happens is that people feel that hydroplaning because it feels different in the car. And you panic, and you swing the steering wheel around, and then you hit the normal ground again, and your tires go from no grip to sudden grip. But now your steering wheel and your like the tires are pointed in a different direction, so your car will lurch in a direction you're not really expecting, because your instincts were trying to control it over like the hydroplane. And so you go from like kind of straight to suddenly not straight, and you can just go swerving right to the side of the road. So that's, I almost guarantee you that's what happens.
気がついたら空中だった。
Through the air. I wanted to listen in silence, but I couldn't hold myself back.
突然車体がストップして、フロントガラスから3人とも放り出されたから。
Fetch me.
ちょうどカーブの先が崖で、だから私たちすごく高い位置に飛び出した。
How did she survive, though? That's the crazy thing. Like, that should have been total wipeout. That's absolutely horrifying. I didn't know what to say.
後部座席に寝てた私だけ、途中でシートに引っかかったりして、遅れて飛び出したんだと思う。
So she did fly out. She was ejected, but she didn't have to pass through the glass because her parents had kind of already paved the way.
覚えてるのは、遠くの空を飛んでいくお父さんとお母さんの姿。笑っちゃった。童話みたいな光景だったから。メアリー・ポピンズとか、あんなの。でも下を見ると森が見えて。
Oh, so they got ejected out of the car, but the car didn't fall down the cliff. It hit the guardrail and the rail stopped it, but maybe they weren't wearing seatbelts or something. They went straight through the windshield off a cliff.
何も考えられなかった。怖いとさえ思わなかった。冗談めいてたから。
Especially when you were like half asleep. To go from half asleep to ejected out of your car, that's gotta be insane.
お父さんたちが遠くの空に行っちゃう。そんな不安だけだった。
She was really young too.
で、気がついたら、私は森に転がってた。
I wonder if her powers awakened.
今思うと、あれは奇跡だったんだろうなって思う。大きな怪我もしてなかった。
Wow.
多分、枝とかに引っかかって、それでうまく落ちたんじゃないかな。
And if she was really young, like ironically, kids not only have a much lower terminal velocity profile, so because of the weight in proportion to their size, they actually fall slower than an adult would, which is, it's not by much, but it's enough that might make a difference. And then you have like young kids. If she was really, really young, like almost not much older than a toddler, your bones are still like in a kind of weird loosey-goosey state where like it's a comparison where like when you're an adult, your bones are like a solid like branch or log you'd find in a forest, like really sturdy, really hard, but you can like, it breaks and like shatters. But when you're a kid, your bones are more like a fresh sprig from a willow or something, where like they can kind of bend before they'll shatter. So they're more prone to bruising bones than breaking them. It's really bad if they break them because like then they can have very odd like impacts on growth, like regrowth and like the shape that you have. But in other ways, it kind of protects kids. I remember in my neighborhood growing up when I was like 7 or 8, there was a kid, like a 2-year-old, who was on, like, they had a 2-story house in our neighborhood. Most of our houses had 2 stories. And it was 2 stories and a little bit more because they also, like, the foundation kind of, like, was elevated a bit above the surface, allowed them to have, like, shallow window wells. And he was on the 2nd floor looking out the window. It was a hot day, so the windows were open. They had a screen there. But the kid got excited because he saw somebody outside he wanted to talk to. So he leaned against the screen and it gave out underneath him. And he fell. I remember I was outside and he fell from the 2nd story window into the garden. And the parents freaked out, obviously. And that made us kids freak out. We rushed over. And he was crying. But he was fine. He landed on a soft patch of earth. He fell 2 stories. So like that's like 20 plus feet. Like it's probably more like 22 feet. But he landed in like recently like tilled soil. So it was floofy. It was full of air. It had some plants on it. And he didn't land on hit any rocks or any concrete or anything. He just landed on the ground. He didn't have broken bone. he didn't lose consciousness. He didn't have to go to a doctor. He had like bruises. It was kind of crazy. And so it's weird to say it, but at the same time, this story is more believable than you might expect. Miracle? Yeah, because of the circumstances. But if you're young enough and you fall in the right places, a cliff wouldn't even be lethal, I don't think. Again, slowed by branches, landing on soft earth might be enough. Though, I imagine she would be very sore, and I don't know what you do at that point.
私は森で二人を探した。長いこと歩いて、やっと見つけたけど、二人はもう形もわかんなくなっちゃってた。
Dang.
怖かった。私、お母さんにすがりつくこともできなかった。
That's me.
お母さんの顔が
That's the
どこ
stuff.
かもわからなかった。
That's the stuff nobody should have to see, let alone kid. But then sadly happens far too shockingly often in the world. We forget in the first world how it is very uncommon for people to see these types of things. But in places where war is a more constant threat, where there's a lot more upheaval and there's a lot more brutality in response to civil unrest. This is stuff that you can see in the city if you're in the wrong place at the wrong time. Terrifying.
だから逃げちゃった。めちゃくちゃ歩いて疲れ果てて、気がついたら宿り木が手に絡みついてた。
Huh.
その宿り木がね、魔物だったの。
Had she made it though? Huh? Is that how it works?
チビモスみたいな魔物じゃなくて、素質のある人間に知識と力を与える。
So
そういうの。
it's one of those coiling vines that contains memories, and their whole purpose is to contain memories. And when somebody with the right aptitude for a druid walks past, they kind of strike at them almost. Like it probably look like a snake, but they just grab you and then they give you like a burst of like initial like here's the situation, here's what you are.
私にはその素質があったみたい。宿り木は死者でも生き返らせる力をくれるって言ってた。ただし、鍵に一生使えるって条件だったけど。
So it was a kind of not 100% whole truth there.
あとはわかるよね。
It wasn't true resurrection, was it? Kotori nods. So she probably felt pretty scammed by that. No wonder she's been kind of bitter about this whole thing.
昔の人は、あれが蘇生だって受け入れていたみたい。光栄なことでもあるって思ってたんじゃないかな。強くなるし、おしゃべりしなくなるし、忠実になるし。
In a survival situation, I could see the appeal of that.
なーにが福音の奇跡だい。こんなの。
Aww. Her tone wavers with the last sentence. She sniffles. That sounded like quite the story. She had to control the bodies of her parents and perform druid duties since she was a child. With no one to console her, she grew up completely by herself. And Pero was like that too.
ペロの時は、もう割り切ってたし。そんなには辛くなかったよ。
I don't care though. That's still brutal, man.
魔物は生きてない。心なんてないって。宿り木の記憶にもあったし。だから、道具だって。これは道具だって。
I mean, that's the best way to do it, like to keep your sanity, yeah. She probably wouldn't be able to sustain herself if she didn't think that way.
死んだ直後なら、臓器の一部だけを魔物化することで、疑似的な蘇生を成立させることができるかもって考えたの。
And that's where we come in. We are kind of a success, but it's a flawed success, which is why our brain kind of shattered.
私はその方法をずっと研究してきた。
Did you succeed? Kotarou, think about it. Yes, she did. You are there.
ただの魔物になっちゃった。
But what about Kotarou? I see. Is there no way to preserve the mind in the process?
私の知る限り、長く生きた魔物の中には、稀に魂のようなものが宿ることがあるみたい。でもとても珍しいことで。 めったに怒らないって。
I see. That answers a lot of questions. The weird distance I sometimes feel from Kotori. That was because her heart was always alone. Can I let it get to my head a little?
Huh?
That's weird. Yeah, me too. What? I'm thinking that you kept going to high school just because I was there. Am I wrong?
合ってるよ。
Aww.
楽しかった。
Yeah, it was fun.
小太郎くんと遊んでる時だけ。
Oh my gosh,
い
though.
ろんなことを忘れられた。
That's why she just didn't go to school. She didn't feel like it. She only went to school to like hang out with us because we were the only person she ever considered a kind of a friend, really. And she only went for that reason. She knew she had no future as in a career. Like, school is one thing you can kind of flake out on, and like as long as you test okay, like they'll kind of work with you. But you can't just be halfway there, halfway not with a job. You can't just you can't exist in a society like that. So she probably knew that like she couldn't have friends even Kotarou, because eventually she would have to pretend to go on with her life and instead just live in the forest. This hermit lifestyle was actually inevitable, even without the harvest festival shenanigans that's been going on. Like, I don't know why this harvest festival has been so weird too, because I'm guessing she's been through others, but they obviously weren't full-on wars before. I guess it's the key. The key's the new part of the cog in this whole machine. But anyway, like, even before then, she already kind of had that. Her path was kind of already set there because she'd sworn to protect the key. She'd sworn to do what she could.
だって
Aww.
大好きなんだもん。
It sucks because it's like the words that you want to hear so bad, but the context and the settings and the emotions that are here, it just doesn't feel right, you know? Like, it feels right, but also feels like it's such a sad moment. It's not supposed to be a sad confession. Oh, thank goodness. I finally managed to pull out her real feelings. I'm more relieved than happy. I'm satisfied. It doesn't matter if at the end comes tomorrow. That's just how fulfilled I feel. But there's only one thing left. A question I still don't have an answer to. I suppress my instinct to embrace her and formulate my last question. I've got to confirm something. I smiled at her, praying deep in my heart. God, please don't make Kotori's face any more cruel. Kotori? I'm not familiar, am I? It feels like the question melts into the air and disappears. But I wait.
わからない。
Like I said, he's kind of that halfway that she was experimenting with, but maybe it's because the key was directly involved. She's not entirely sure. So that's the final piece of Kotori's cruel life. She loves us, but even then, we're partly the monster that she's grown to have to detach herself from.
鍵が初めて現れた時、私は出迎えに行った。同じ時、小太郎くんも偶然森に来ていた。
Oh, man.
覚えてない？女の子が登った木から降りられなくなったことがあって。
Wait. So that was the key. How did we see the key way back then? That's weird. That's really weird. Ah, yeah, that happened.
どういう経緯かはわからない。当時、小太郎くんは探偵ごっこみたいなことをよくしてた。
That sounds like Kotaru. Looks like our instincts didn't die with us. A detective. I feel like that happened too.
その子を助けようとした小太郎くんは、鍵と出くわした。
Oh. Oh, so there was a girl. So there was some other girl. But he ran into the key. So is that how he got injured? Like, the key was there, invisible. He couldn't see it, but he ran into it and her automatic defenses attacked him, maybe.
現場はひどいありさまだったよ。女の子は意識がなかっただけだったけど、小太郎くんは瀕死だった。
And you treated me, right?
うん。その後は頭の怪我もあったし、 入院してもらって。知っての通りだよ。
I'm here. I have a mind of my own.
お父さんたちとは違って、小太郎くんは話すし、判断もできる。でも、それも私の願望じゃないって。言い切ることはできない。
But we've been able to do things so independently, right? But you know what she might be questioning? Our feelings of attachment to her. Is it a byproduct of like what, like the ritual-esque nature of what happened? And thus it's just the bond that she has with every familiar? Or is it actually his desire as a person independent of that? More likely it's a mix of the two. And that's hard to swallow because like, how would you feel if like the love of your life loved you, but you were not confident and had some pretty solid evidence to state that they loved you because they had to, because it was their nature rather than because they wanted to? Would that feel like real love? Especially if like you could try and persuade yourself that it wasn't. You could try and brush it aside, but deep down, you'd be there. There'd be that doubt. It's like that fear you sometimes have when your partner's like cheating on you, except when there's actual evidence to support the fact. Like, I can't imagine how that must claw at your insides, right? Like, that suspicion that you just desperately want to be false, but you also can't ignore. And so it makes you start questioning every decision that they make and that you make. And like, it makes every situation that should be just like a casual interaction feel like you're dancing on a knife's edge. I can't imagine that. Huh.
無意識に操っているのかもしれない。元の小太郎くんはもういないのかも。
No, that couldn't be it. They're vague. But I have memories of my childhood and so on.
同じ脳を参照してるから、記憶の有無は当てにならないよ。
Okay. Huh.
でも考えたくない。
Yeah, because she's like, I don't want you to be taken from me too. Kotori clings to me, her eyes frantic.
もし小太郎くんが私の願望の発露でしかなかったら、多分、もう頑張れない。
She's like, I'm not holding myself together. I'm being held together by tape and dreams at this point. If you turn out to also just be a shellless familiar, then literally everything I love has been been taken from me already.
でもそのことを証明なんてしたくない。
Kotori, I would describe this as happy.
このまま終わりたい。
Stop it. Don't give up.
でもさ。
Please. I tightly embrace her shoulders, causing her to fall silent. Kotori leans her head against my chest. Let's at least try to live for a while, alright? Her head slightly moves up and down. The key begins to sing in a barely audible voice. In modern music terms, it's just a note. It only lasts for a moment, but it renders us both speechless. Seems we're terrified of that song on an instinctual level. I wonder why. Kotori stands up. She then retrieves something that looks like a long stick from Mr. Kanabe's stuff. It's a hunting rifle. As I stare at it, startled by the sudden appearance of a weapon, Kotori points it at the key. What the? Wait. No. She's like, I can't let you sing. She's just going to execute it right here. It's going to be a completely reverse of what she's expected to do. Wait. It requires quite a bit of courage to touch that long barrel.
殺さなきゃ。
Hey, don't suddenly go nuts on me. I thought we were supposed to protect it.
守る。そう。守ろうとした。救済が起こったら、鍵はどうなると思う？
It's gonna upset the very foundation of our society, right? But that's the planet's tried and true system. So suddenly I felt a dangerous presence from outside. Can I have the gun? I take the hunting rifle and place it on the desk. Then I peek outside using the reflection of a broken piece of glass. A band of black hounds is surrounding the shack. Oh no. We're surrounded. Luckily, there's no monster hunters in sight. That said, black hounds are a threat in their own right. I had trouble fighting a single one with the numbers like that. The shack isn't something we could fortify and defend either. Guess we got no choice. Our only chance of survival might be me kicking their butt. Can I use the hunting rifle to my advantage? Not untrained. I'm not confident I can utilize a weapon I've never touched before in real-life battle. In which case, there's only one thing left for me to do. An explosive noise reverberates throughout the room. Miss Kanabe is holding an enormous chainsaw she must have retrieved from her carrying case. Okay, sure. We'll just go Chainsaw Massacre here. It's running on its own engine. And it's definitely larger than what any woman what any normal woman could have wielded. Yet Miss Kanabe is holding it like it's nothing. So that's what you were making them carry. It seems like they're not programmed to respond to anything other than normal daily conversation. Mr. Kanabe stands up. He then rummages through his long, narrow bag. They are not moving by themselves. Kotori's ordering them around. Hey.
ダメだよ。力を使ったら、人の姿ではいられなくなっちゃう。
Why?
小太郎くんのままでいて、何も変えないで。今の心まで、なくなっちゃったら。
Oh. So this clock countdown timer. He talked about how he was always scared it was going to be a reduction of his humanity. That might literally be the case. As he pulls on the power inside him, maybe it spreads and reconstitutes more and more of his flesh, making him more and more of a familiar, inadvertently grinding away at his humanity. And so anytime we upped the notches, we were just becoming less human. Like, Kotoru's instincts were on point there. He was exactly right. He knew exactly what was happening on an instinctual level.
小太郎くんがそのままでいてくれることだけが、私の救いなんだから。
You want me to make those two fight in my place?
魔物なんだもん。使うか、使わないかだよ。悲しくなんてない。ペロと一緒だよ。どうってことない。だから、同情しないでおくれよ。
There's that flat tone. That delivery. Listen to that. Okay, this is me as someone who loves visual novels, right? Like, listen to the way she delivers these lines, like, separated, because, like, it was a gradual and beautifully done, executed. So listen.
小太郎くんがそのままでいてくれることだけが、
Here's that.
私の救いなんだから。
Hear that emotion. But then as she starts trying to describe how they're just shells.
だから、同情しないでおくれよ。
Do you hear that flatness in her voice? You hear how the delivery, and like you could hear it the whole stages where it went from her like raw emotion and feeling to her like almost rote, memorized script of detachment. Really, really cool how it was done. Like the fact that you can hear it even without like truly understanding the words, like it's one of the reasons why I love listening to the Japanese like voice lines, even though it's harder to like follow unless you're like actively watching the screen. At the same time, there's a beauty to enjoying that voice work that just is so well done.
悲しみなんて、とっくの昔に。
I see. What else can I say? I can't think of anything.
魔物を先に出して、私たちは後から出る。で、二人が戦ってるうちに、私たちは逃げる。
But if we do that, then we have nothing left. Like, when we are caught up with again, which is going to happen, we have nothing. Okay. It means abandoning the two of them. They may just be empty husks, but they're still the bodies of her parents that she's kept preserved for years. Or should I call them corpses? Is there anything to even feel sentimental toward? No way.
Oi.
Oh, fetch me. Mr. Kanabe scratches his head.
何かしら、あなた。
Mrs. Kanabe answers in a gentle voice. Kotori drops her bag. She's like, she didn't ask them to do that. Oh no. Oh no. They can't do this to her. They can't. Like, it's not fair. No. Something impossible is happening.
私の銃はどこにあったかな。あれはロッカーに保管してないとまずいんだよ。最近は猟友会も厳格化が進んでいるんだからね。
So they're just talking.
バカね、あなた。机の上にあるじゃない。
おお、本当だ。
Mr. Kanabe picks up his hunting rifle.
これがあれば家族を守れる。
Holy crap. Like, it's like so insane, but this is actually, in a weird way, this might actually be a good thing for Kotori. It must be horrifically horrifying to see this happening right now, kind of like with Porto, but it also kind of indicates this idea that, like, there is something still left there that's still them, right? This is like, in the final moments, like, they suddenly take control that normally Kotori has to kind of direct, like perfectly. But Pero, as Chibi-Moth, like, rescued the key and Kotaru. And even at the end, it, like, started talking as itself. And then her parents, like, knowing that she's going to have to leave them behind, probably giving them their final orders. As soon as she, like, stops, like, directly controlling them, suddenly, like, their natural latent part of themselves comes out again. And this brief kind of resurrection is actually kind of real. And look at that. He's just like, I got my gun. You got the chainsaw. We're going to protect our daughter.
ええ、そうね、あなた。行きましょう。
あ、
Holy crap. The husband and wife step outside as though going shopping. The sharp sounds of gunshots and rumbling of the chainsaw soon follow.
嘘。
That conversation. Was it just an illusion? A bug in the system? A reflex ingrained in their bodies? For just a moment, it seemed like they returned to their normal selves. Kotori, we've got to go. The key, too.
だって、そんなことないって。やだ。
I pull the two of them outside. To avoid looking at the battle as much as I can, I break into a dash, weaving through the gaps of the familiars, rushing at Mr. and Mrs. Kanabe. Because that's the thing. In truth, they're still familiars, and that's not going to change. But there might be more to them than that. I can still hear gunshots and the rumbling of an engine behind me. And then the sound of fangs digging into flesh. Fetch me. I won't look back. I really like Mr. and Mrs. Kanabe. They were like kind of adults who could find common ground with even if you weren't Kotori's parents. But I won't look back. Why is she laughing? I glance back at the owner of that one of the hands I'm pulling and find the key laughing. Laughing like it's having the time of its life. Oh man. Like she loses them again. Like, but then there's that regret too. So it's like, wait, could I have actually talked to them this whole time? Were they able to like listen to me and understand? Like, how much of them was left? And did I squander that just because I refused to see it? I continue pulling Kotori along. It'll be the end of everything if I let her go back. I alone focus solely on the road ahead. The key laughs. Kotori cries. I feel like I'm going mad. Me too, buddy. Me too. The sound of battle having long drawn distant, but Kotori still sobbing.
反射。なんだ。
Yeah.
生前の記憶の反射。それだけなんだよ。
Yeah.
魔物化したら心なんてないんだから。
Yeah.
絶対お父さんじゃないんだよ。
Yeah. The tears are overflowing from my eyes. I drag the both of us forward, looking like a miserable wretch. But a human. The tears are blocking my vision, making it difficult to walk. We have no supplies. We have no hope. Still, I advance forward, guided solely by my own conviction. Eventually, my tears stop. And at this point, small talk isn't on the table, neither is discussing anything sensible. That's what it's meant to walk the path of your own destruction. And as we advance a bit farther, a shack appears before us. Oh no. We are in that other world. Don't mess with me. This is impossible! Are you screwing with me? Are you mocking me? I scream to the heavens. Or should I actually be directing my complaints to the earth? The shack looks identical to the one we camped at before. It's impossible. There are times when people accidentally circle around despite thinking they're heading forward. Oh, fetch me. But it's still impossible to end up in the exact same place you started. There's no bodies nor any other kind of gore in the surrounding area. There's no signs of combat at all. But I can't quite assume it's a different place. Familiars turn into dust when they die. It's like they're absorbed by the laws of time and erased from existence. I try opening the shack's door. Mr. and Mrs. Kanabe aren't there. I might have been fooled if the illusion was perfect. I could have believed it was another place that merely looked identical. If the gear we forgot in our hurry to escape wasn't resting right where we left it. We've probably gone insane. I thought I did my best. I thought I did everything to avoid the worst possible end. But a human's mind is helpless before the cruelty of reality. While I stand there with my thoughts in ruins, the key begins singing again. The sound grates on my mind. Stop it! I told you to stop it! I grab its shoulder, shaking it. What the hell is your goal? What do you want to do? All this is happening because we're protecting you, because people were after you. Take responsibility, at least look sorry. Not human, but I understand. A single black hound appears at the back of the shack. That's probably one of the few that survived the battle. Bear-like muscles cover its body. Black hounds aren't all completely identical, and this one definitely looks like the strongest of the bunch. I see. Deploy my Aurora and form a wrist blade. That's just how it is. The black hound darts forward. I hold my glimmering blade sideways. Go to hell! Can't even remember how I fought. Looking at the result, I guess I won. My left hand looks like it's been served as dinner for hundreds of starving rats. More like a bloody mincemeat than part of a human body. It doesn't hurt. I don't feel anything. The black hound and I were evenly matched. The only thing I vaguely remember is that it exploded when it drew its last breath. The idea seems to have been a gift of shrapnel to whoever happened to kill the familiar. Oh, that's just awful. That's the reason the place currently stinks like sulfur. There was a bunch of these black hounds at the beginning, but it seems like Mr. and Mrs. Kanabe had successfully taken care of most of them. Meanwhile, I almost ended up in a draw against a single beast. A conclusion fitting for my mediocre nature. I chuckled to myself. The key is still singing. It doesn't look like it's planning to stop anymore. The key, its song, salvation. The adrenaline wears off and my left hand begins hurting. But I have no time to patch myself up. Let's go. The key has changed. It's really still the same. Is it really still the same being? It looks physically different. Its legs have dug into the ground like the roots of a tree. We won't be able to move like this. It's actually trying to become a tree? That'd be weird. Just what are you? The sound of its song intuitively makes me anxious. It feels like it's gently trying to decompress everything that exists. That's not good. I have to kill it. I have to kill the key before it's too late. It feels like the voice is reverberating in my very genes. All of my primal instincts are making the key as the ultimate threat. That said, Kotori?
Kotarou-kun.
Kotori is holding a shotgun in her arms. I'm pretty sure she just randomly found it in the field.
お願い、これからすること。みんな。
I admit that the key might not be the most beneficial thing to us as members of humankind. But are you sure you can kill something you've been protecting for years? Can your heart handle that?
とっくに限界だよ。
Kotori gives me a self-depreciating smile and begins talking.
本来、魔物は契約者の寿命と引き換えに活動するの。強い魔物ほど膨大な時間を吸い取る。
So it's a life pact.
でも、宿り木の魔物使いたちが編み出した禁断の技術は、鍵の参道、パワースポットから地球の生命力を吸い出して支払いに充てることができる。
Could it be that I, too? Kotori nods. But then, if the key dies...
どうなると思う？私の刺激する魔物すべての生命力が一瞬で枯渇することになる。
I see. I might end up wasting away if I actually turned out to be a familiar. It's just like unplugging an electrical appliance. Oh gosh. But even if we're not, like, could we just lose our arm? At the very least?
でも唯一、消息不明の場合、
In the event that the planet can't confirm whether the key is living or dead, I quickly catch on where this is going. Once the key dies, it decomposes, returning its life energy to the planet. It's sort of like how humans normally return to the Earth after death. That's most likely how the planet confirms the key's death. Once that happens, the energy will probably stop being released from the power spot as well. However, if we somehow disrupt that process, for example, if we killed it in a small room made solely out of concrete, or maybe Kotori could erect a barrier that would cut off the signal to the planet.
すぐには星も鍵の死を判断できないから。
Which means my life will last however long that takes. We'd avoid all risk if we end up killing the key in a way that it couldn't return to the planet. But if we let it do its thing, it'll cause salvation, and who knows how our lives will change. I can't believe I found myself in this situation.
こんなに早く救済が起こるなんて。
Maybe that's just how badly our planet is damaged at the moment.
だから見ないで。
She might be executing us here. Kotori points the gun at the key. She had promised to protect it with her life. Yet, she's now going to break that vow. It feels incredibly wrong. Yeah, that's because it is. I stand in front of the gun. I'll prove it to you.
証明？
That I'm not a familiar.
そんなの無理。
You order your familiars around, right? If I really was one, I'd always follow your commands. In which case, all I have to do to prove it is do the opposite.
私の願望？
I'm thinking of throwing everything down. As such, I'm going to make you pick the toughest choice. Oh, fetch me, Kotaru! Why? Kotori gives me a smile through her tears.
まだ苦しめてんの？
Yeah. Since I'm no familiar, I'm Tennouji Kotaru, the real thing.
そんなのわかんないじゃない。
I do.
ならどうして？どうして？性格が正反対になってるんだよ。
Uh-oh. That's...
小太郎くんはそんな明るくなかった。ネクラだった。愛想なしだった。冷たかった。これっぽっちも私のこと何度も無視した。
We're like the human Pero.
助けてくれなかった。今のその性格自体が私の願望の証拠だよ。お前は魔物だ。私が生み出した心の形をした
Fetch me.
魔物だ。本当の小太郎くんじゃない。私は自分の欲望と
Good grief. This is just...
恋してたんだ。
This is just cruel on cruel. Like, this is just... No! Why? The gun trembles. Kotori, the key is nothing but a burden to you, isn't it? Your parents never really resurrected, ended up injuring me, and it's pretty much stole your life away. Think it's too much for you to handle.
違う。
You may break your contract and lose your powers if you kill it. But you could have easily let the others in pursuit take care of it. You must have considered that multiple times. You must have been quite torn. I'm gonna fight against your weakness. If your conviction's wavering, I'm gonna protect the key. To the very end. There's satisfaction after the cruelest of choices. Let's get that point together. I stick my hand out to her. Kotori is dead silent. The gun has been pointing at the floor for a while now. A small hand grasps my fingertips. It looks like a small child tugging on an adult's sleeve. Oh no. A new beast is standing within the golden fields. The dinosaur that I'd seen in the forest. And as far as I know, this is their trump card, their strongest force. But I'm not afraid anymore. My heart alone seems to have transcended some other level. There's no way I can stand a chance against it with my current strength. I have to protect the key, fight, and maintain hope. The only way to avoid regret in the end is to stay together with her. Tell me one last thing.
何？
What's the salvation? Will it make our world better?
破滅だ。
Is that the key? Where'd that explosion come from?
鍵が。
A large hole has been opened in the key's chest. It isn't that Shizuru? What the what? She looks down at us through the scope of a giant rifle. Did she just shoot the key with that? The song goes out of sync. It's as if a crystal clear melody suddenly transformed into static of a broken radio. It blurs and disintegrates. The key's writhing, withering. It's like I'm watching a sped up nature video. Irrevocably, it's wilting at an ungodly speed. Unable to watch, I embrace it. It's not breathing. Its eyes empty, merely convulses in my arms. That is, without a doubt, a lethal wound. Holy... Where did she come from? Shizuru averts her eyes, turns around, and walks away. The Tyrannosaurus Rex turns as well, leaving only the quaking ground as it walks away. All three groups witnessed the end.
鍵。死んじゃった。
Fireworks color the night sky. They're celebrating the end of the harvest festival. Was I dreaming? The endless golden field has disappeared. Almost like we've been transported back to reality from some parallel dimension. Which is exactly where you were. You were in the Gray City again, but this time not the city. Now that I think about it, I don't ever remember where those fields of corn were, whether those fields were corn or wheat. In any case, we're kneeling in the modest, long-harvested rice field. Shizuru has disappeared too, along with her weapon. I lay in the key on the ground. Because, you know, she just has a sniper rifle or something. What the fetch? Her petite hand touches my cheek.
Kotarou.
Why? Can she just now talk now? Yeah?
Show.
What? She's giving us proof. The key turns into particles and disappears into the air like dust. It's gone. The change occurs immediately. Kotori clutches her chest and lets out a pained groan. Hey, what? The next moment, I'm overcome with an insane thirst. It almost feels like I'm choking. The supply of something vital to my life has been suddenly cut off.
途切れてる。力が。鍵が。死んじゃったから。
I crumple to the ground. My right arm is paralyzed. My chest feels hot, like someone stuck a searing steel rod into it. Get him to a hospital! And the pain, it's as though something is trying to tear my body apart from within. Kotori clutches her chest as well. Death is approaching for both of us. Oh. Was she saved by the key too? The key's last words were proof. What did she mean by that? Could it be, Kotori, can you release the part of me that was the familiar?
そんなことしたら、小太郎くんが死んじゃう。
I'm draining your life, I can see it. Her link with the power spot has been severed, and this is the result. My enhanced body that's been affected by familiarization magic is trying to absorb energy in its own default way. In other words, it's trying to suck life from Kotori. We're both gonna waste away like this. Undo it. I know you can do it. Kotori replies, sweating profusely.
絶対嫌だ。最後まで一緒に生きる。
He said it wants us to struggle to the very end.
嫌だ。嫌だ。
Undo it. Kotori violently shakes her head. It's all right. I've got a plan. I'm not lying, trust me.
考え。
That's right. There's a way to save us both. But if we keep this up, we're both gonna die. So, undo it. Kotori hesitates for a few moments before touching my wound. Whatever was substituting for the missing part of me turns into dust and disperses into the air. The clock is rewinding back past where it was when we started to the neutral point. The ribbon I received from the key. The particles are golden in color, beautiful beyond compare. Well, you feel better, don't you?
どうして。
The contract between Kotori and me has been cut off. Now Kotori will be fine. The magic dissipates, and as a result, my wound from that time returns. Oh! My body suddenly feels heavy. The pain intensifies. I have trouble breathing. My vision blurs. The air feels muddy. All my sensations recede inside myself. That's just how much it hurts to be alive. Get him to the friggin' hospital! Calm down. We simply return to being normal human beings. You can live in peace now. Calm down, Kotori. Don't waste your last chance. Instead of hoping for a miracle, take me to the darn hospital! Help me up on your shoulder and carry me there with your own strength. Let me be treated normally by humans. I'll survive if luck is with us. The hospital's about an hour's walk from here. Fetch me! It's the Harvest Festival. The ambulance would have a lot of trouble getting through this crowd. Realizing this as well, Kotori inhales sharply. I can't move by myself, but you can. I've got no choice but to bet it all in your slender hands. I smile. Maybe, but that's fine. That's how it usually works in the real world. Ugh, this is how it feels when blood enters your lungs? God, it's disgusting. What do you want to do? You always nursed me to the last moments of my life. That worked too. Determination lights up her tear-soaked eyes. Good. Take me on your back. I think I can handle it, and I'll do my best not to die on the way. Normally, no. But in this case, I think it's the better option. Yeah, I've lost all sorts of things. I should be lighter than before, too. And I'm losing more blood as I go. Alright. Go fetch me. Kotori lifts me on her back. Having lost the infusion of power, my muscles have deteriorated. My entire body's withered like an old tree. Kotori begins moving. I listen to her encouraging words. Feels nice. The scenery grows blurry. My enhanced senses have reset, making me feel like I'm perceiving less than before. I've been cheating for so long. I had this coming. Keep the pace. Don't try to rush it. We're gonna lose lots of time if we fall. I know it may be irritating, but try to keep up. It's the intermittent pressure against my injury keeps interrupting my voice. But all I have to do is hold on. Kotori's doing all the work. Fetch me, man. She repeats everything twice. Once to herself and once to me. This is good. Perfect pace. We stagger along. No matter how atrophied my body is, Kotori is still shouldering an entire person's weight. Not something a girl could casually carry around. But we have to do our best. That's probably what the key wanted us to do. Is it watching us right now? The way we struggled on the surface of this planet? Yeah. Or not yes. Yeah. Sway. My entire world shakes as Kotori sways. I have no idea what's happening to me anymore. Feels like I'm floating. Just feels fulfilled. I have nothing to complain about. Kotori advances, encouraging herself every couple seconds. I can't see the scenery around us anymore. Just the night sky. I don't even care how far we've gone. Oh no.
もう、鍵は死んだよ。まだ、なんか用なの？
Oh, did we run into a familiar? Thought they let us go. That's too bad.
もういいでしょ？後にしてよ。後で、文句言いに来てよ。逃げも隠れもしないよ。そうです。私が、森の魔物使いです。小太郎くんを、病院に連れて行くんだ。あの時、本当にしたかったことをするんだ。だから、あっち行け！
Fetch me. The world starts swaying again. Did she fend off the beast with her spirit alone? If that's true, then that was quite something.
頑張れ！頑張れ！小太郎くん？小太郎くん！小太郎くん！
Ugh.
ダメだよ！しっかりしてよ！頑張ってよ！
Yeah.
急ぐから！
I drag my feet toward the direction of the town. How long has it been since we started walking? The atmosphere around us changes. I hear someone screaming. That makes sense. I'm severely hurt and bleeding all over. Anyone would be surprised to see someone in that kind of state.
どいてください！どいてください！
So there's people, that's something.
一緒に行くんです！道を開けて！道を！お願いです！道を！小太郎くんが死んじゃう！ここまで来て！
神戸か。おい、なんだそりゃ。
Hey, Yoshida to the rescue! A nostalgic voice reaches my ears. My consciousness starts intermittently cutting out. I can't see anything anymore. But I feel like our speed has increased, and the world isn't swaying as bad anymore. Feels like another set of breaths has joined Kotori's. Huh. This is weird, right? How much time has passed? My consciousness hanging by a thread, I hear Kotori scream from somewhere far away.
助けてください！お願い！この人を助けてください！
Thanks.
天王寺さん。
Holy crap, did we actually make it?
天王寺さん。意識はありますか？結構。施術に入る。高等教。正門よし。機関チューブ相関。
Fun. Get the tracheal tube.
免休。よし。ガーゼを。執刀開始。メス。丸の子。
Ooh, it's not the sternal saw. He's gonna be, half a man. My consciousness returns 2 days later. Find myself on the hospital bed. A nurse rushes to me the moment I open my eyes. I don't see anyone I recognize, but I instantly understand. I'm alive! My throat aches as I yell, but I don't care. I survived. I'm alive through human power alone. All by myself, I savor the flavor of life. I'm back. I'm back. I'm alive. I'm back. The rehabilitation goes smoothly. Before long, I'm allowed to have visitors. My strength recovers in a matter of days. However, my muscles have apparently atrophied, cause unknown. So it'll take some time before I can walk. Catch me. I've had to do that. I've mentioned before on a couple of videos, but I had a very life-defining injury in high school where my knee joint essentially got shattered, which required intensive recovery. Reconstructive surgery, where they had to put it back together so it would actually like grow properly. 9 months on crutches after the fact, and then I had to relearn how to walk. So it was a thing. Rehab sucks, but man, is it nice to be able to move again. I am semi-crippled in that way. Like, not like really. Like, I have mobility, I can do stuff. But there are certain activities I can't do anymore. Like, I used to be an avid skier. Far too risky for re-injury. I have to just be careful in general. So running and doing track and field and stuff, no. Pretty much I'm limited to golf, hiking. Pets, man, though. Learning to walk again sucks. My parents visit me first. My mother embraces me for the first time in I don't know how long, and my father pats my head. Remembering Mr. and Mrs. Kanabe, I cry a little. Kotori doesn't come. Why? Police come, but thankfully not that guy. I receive all sorts of questions regarding the incident, but I pretend not to know anything. I think I managed to fool them. I tried pretty hard. The official story ended up being that I was stabbed by a random slasher overcome by the heat of the harvest festival. The men in black from the weird organization I'd been expecting never come, oddly enough. I have to change hospitals due to some local issues. Can't contact Kotori. Why? My homeroom teacher comes. She holds my hand through the entire conversation. Her words will make me cry again. Are they doing this on purpose? My classmates come. They make me cry again. Gosh darn it! I wanted to make people cry instead. I'd rather be on the side that's gently smiling at someone bawling their heart out. No one knows the whereabouts of Perez or the rest of the Occult Research Society members. I can make an educated guess about Shizuru, but that's about it. In retrospect, we knew each other for such a short time. We'll probably never meet again. But I don't think I'll ever be able to forget them. Mr. Ogino, from the same room, a 32-year-old truck driver, lent me a porn magazine. Yay! Yoshino in the leather jacket, I forgot his name, step in. Wow. I try my best to act like in a way to make Yoshino cry, but he sees through it and punches me. Ah! He punches somebody in the hospital! I let them go after asking for one thing. Rehabilitation continues. On rainy days, on snowy days, it's hard. One time, unable to bear it, I go into hysterics. Yeah, no, it's mentally horrifically taxing. I quickly calm down, but I'm embarrassed for days. Mr. Ogino, a 32-year-old truck driver, lent me a porn magazine again. That night, I find myself stuck in the toilet. That was by far the worst experience I had in my entire life. Yeah, I could see that. They say that what happens in a foreign land stays there. I try to convince myself the same applies to hospitals. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. What happens in the toilet stays in the toilet. Otherwise, I won't be able to live here anymore. Oh, stop that. I don't know why it does that. I let the fact that I've been able to walk a little get to my head. My muscles have deteriorated to an unbelievable degree. That shows just how much my body relied on Aurora. They say the muscle regresses if you don't use them, but none of the examinations give me any particularly worrisome numbers. It doesn't seem like anyone noticed I had superpowers either. Could you even find that kind of thing during a medical examination, though? It's all really mysterious. Rehabilitation continues. I have nothing else to add. I've become able to walk quite a bit. I can go as far as 20 meters without railing. Sweet! That is an accomplishment, though. My attention finally shifts to the world. It's continuing to exist unchanged even after the key's death. From what I've seen in the expensive news, you have to pay money for a TV in this godforsaken place. The world has continued fighting, negotiating about missiles, regulating other countries, the usual. What was the key's salvation in the end? We'll probably never know at this point. Maybe it'll return in 100 years or so. Perhaps people will finally question the ethics behind killing it. After all, the planet has a lot more time to grow wise compared to humans. A person's life is but a blink of an eye to it. Our civilization won't fall in a single day, so long as we don't get hit by a meteorite or something. The world will probably just slowly approach the end instead. I have so much free time that I've started philosophizing, as you can see. I borrow a porn mag from Mr. Ogino, a 32-year-old truck driver. Is he still there? Time passes like a whirlwind. My favorite actor is taken to court for sexual harassment. This is starting to feel real. The Prime Minister changes. An occult book about mysterious animals in the vicinity of Kazamatsuri has become a bestseller. If they wanted to keep this info secret, they should have gone after the book before me. Were those men in black even doing their jobs? One more thing. There has been a political scandal in Kazamatsuri. It seems like our politicians have been connected to all sorts of corrupt organizations, including religious sects. Rehabilitation continues. They aren't letting me out of the hospital yet. But I can't blame them, given the condition of my body. There's just one person I have to see. Yoshino fulfilled my request and confirmed that she's alive at least. Though she was absent for a couple days, she's attending school now. Everyone's trying to console her, but she hasn't regained her formal energy, he said. Why isn't she coming to see me? Is it related to the whole maiden's heart thing? Is she worried that other girls in class would instantly know what's going on if she went out of her way to see me? That couldn't be it, could it? I think she's still worried that he's not himself, or that he'll revert back to what he was and be distant and hate her. One day, late at night, I decide to initiate a certain plan. You gonna sneak out? Think that should be enough. It's just pocket change, but I saved it by cutting down on snacks and magazines just for this day. I slip into my clothes, which feel too big for me. I'm seriously just skin and bone at this point. It makes me feel kind of sad. Holding my shoes in my hand, I slip past the guard to make it outside. I stand on an unfamiliar street in an unfamiliar town. The cold night air feels pleasant on my heated skin. I ran out of breath after a short walk, my legs quickly growing numb. It's pretty scary. Will I be able to get all the way there? No, I have to. Relying not on magic, but solely on my own strength. I have to go complain about her not coming to see me. Just you wait for me, Kotori. I'm coming for you. This day marks the beginning of the journey of our lives. Look at that strut. The pink petals scattered by the wind stroke my cheek and let me know spring is right around the corner. Like, we actually get an ending, right? It doesn't just stop there. It's feeling like it's ending here. What the fetch? No. You can't just end there. Good grief. I see why some of you are like saying like you gotta do multiple endings, man. Because it's like, oh yeah, just random friend of ours just shows up with a sniper rifle and executes the planet's key. Cool. Just no explanation. They're just here. Giant T-Rex just F's off. No, just gone now. Yeah, no problem. Oh yeah, all the political intrigue. I'm sure that was somewhat important. Just seems like a passive mention, you know. All the religious sects and all that. Like, okay, cool. Maybe that's the whole summoners thing. We better have a post-credit scene, or I'm going to be, I am going to revolt. I am going to flip the table with my computer on it, because that would not be fair, because they have to have an ending. That ending was the most bittersweet ending I think I've ever seen. Like, it would be like if you stopped, like, the House of Fata Morgana, like, after, like, the last door. It'd be so, like, heart-wrenchingly sad. Oh my gosh. Kotori deserved better. She had... Everything was horrible for her. That sucked. That was horrifically terrible. I can't imagine, like, an actual life like that. Plus, okay, so how is she, like, going to school, though? Like, she doesn't have her facsimile parents anymore. Gosh darn it. Why? I'm just like enjoying the music. I know, like, I'm not reacting or anything. I'm just kind of like, and I'm marinating in all the emotions I have. Like, it's cruel. Like, what she had to go through is, like, cruel on a whole other scale. Like, torture would have been kinder, because it was, like, self-inflicted torture. It was like her doing her best and like backslide, revelation, like an untruth every time. Come on, something else. Yes, Key. Interesting. I just kind of really realized that Key is the publisher of this. That's interesting. I'm sure it was intentional. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Yes, something. Good. Please. Oh, it's just teasing it. It's just teasing. Oh, no. Oh, it's just doing the English trailers now. Okay. I'm going to wait. I'm going to take a breather. We'll probably cut to whatever happens after this. Because I just need to relax. That song was beautiful. Again, like, I don't want it to be claimed and I don't want to talk over it. It made me wonder, what if they had a different song for every ending? That'd be kind of cool. But yeah, let's see. Come on, game. You can't just leave me hanging. In memory of Carolus, Conjurer, Javesquius. I don't know, I can't say that. I don't know what language that even is. Come on. Please, game. You can't just leave that there. What happened? No! What? You complete Kotori's right? No! That's not where it ends! I am... Just flip the table! Oh, hey! This looks different, though, right? Kotori was here, right? But now she's not. Am I going crazy, or is that, like, actually a thing? Like, that she's not on the homepage anymore, and the key now is, and, like, the tree in the middle is, like... It's, like, opening up, and it's got, like, a thing in it. Okay, that's... No, Kotori's right here. I'm stupid. My emotions are distraught. I'm freaking out. But I think the key and the tree are unique, which makes sense, too, because it kind of would spoil it if your first playthrough went there. Okay, so... Questions I have to have answered. Number 1... What the fetch? Don't answer that one. I just have to say it. Number 2, gotta start a new playthrough. How exactly does this work? Is it okay for me to just hit start? Or do I have to do something specific? And if I do, how much do I have to show? Because I think if the majority of the game is going to be the same until like certain decisions are made, like, I can't, I really shouldn't showcase that. Like, that's gonna be really boring and hard to cover. Like, maybe I could do a cut-up version of it, but, like, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna have to see how I want to do this, because it's very challenging to do it this way if we're still have to play through the first act of the game, and it's relatively identical. So I'll have to think about that. I'd love to have some of your insights on that, like based on your experience with the game without spoiling it, like, what's the best approach? Because my instinct would be, I hit start new game, and then I hit skip, and like most visual novels, it has a function where it skips until you hit a decision point, or you hit a scene you haven't seen before. Now, I could try and capture that and string them all together, or I could kind of just leave them out until we get to the point where the path like diverges, essentially, like where we actually have started a new path. And once I notice that we've done that, then I start recording from that point, and I kind of just do a summary of like some of the choices that were different, but not like spell it out completely. That's kind of what I'm leaning toward, but I need to know your insight first. Would there be way too much important stuff that would be missed if I did that? Because that's very possible. And I don't mean important as in like necessary to replicate the path. It's more of just a like I'm assuming, like, if you want, you could get a spoiler walkthrough or a non-spoiler walkthrough. I want to focus on the story. I want to focus on the characters. So, besides some fairly key events, I know there was like one interaction I kind of missed in the first run through, but I'm guessing more stuff's going to be available now. So maybe there would be side interactions, and that's the thing too, is like, do the choices I make along the way dictate what the next ending path is, or is it kind of a predetermined thing? Like Kotori being the first route. Like, I don't think I could have got anything else there. I don't think there was a choice there. So, yeah, I'd love to know what your thoughts are. Just insight so I know what to do over the next week to get ready for the next episode. Just be really good to hear from you. So please, please, thank you. I'd love to hear from you. Hopefully you enjoyed this. I certainly did. I'm scarred for life, though. But here's the thing. It sucks. Kotori's life was horrible, but at the same time, I'm still on the I think Kotori's best girl path. Now, granted, I'm going to be getting to know these other characters. Maybe that'll change. But Kotori was like, she was literally like a saint. She was so cool and funny. And then when the chips were down, she literally did everything in her power to do what was right, even though it sacrificed so much. Like, how can you not find that super impactful and special? I don't like the ending because it just is like, oh, I'm just going to go talk to her. Like, we just assume that she accepts you again? Like, you can't just tell me that it ended up okay? I'm angry. I'm so sad. That's just, I didn't want it to end like that. I wanted at least some kind of closure. But, oh well. We'll figure it out. Anyway, thank you so much for being here today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you've had a good time and that we've been able to kind of share this journey together. It means a lot to me. I'm grateful that you're here and being a part of it and that you've been able to join me for this journey and that you continue to do so since, seeing how many parts we're already in and that we've only done one path, it's going to be a long series. But worth it. I think it's worth it. So, hope you enjoy. Please stick around. Please continue watching and sharing these with me. But until the next video, watch me, see me next. I'll see you there. Better answer my questions. I don't know what I'm going to do otherwise.